Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Adrien Broner and Omar Figueroa. But before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. All right, AB, Adrien Broner, he is coming back, man, July 23rd, comeback fight against Omar Figueroa. Now look, those of us who pay attention to the sport, we've been seeing the antics of Adrien Broner for years, man. We have been seeing just the ups and downs and all the crazy things he says outside the ring. We've been seeing him transition kind of from a world-class fighter into what we see him today, right? Kind of the slow decline of a fighter. Or maybe you think it's a quick decline of a fighter. I don't know. Kind of depends on how you look at it. But either way, we see the man who he is today. Now, one of the things that I think about when I see this fight coming back, I see the way he has been acting in social media and stuff like that. And look, I'm not alone in this viewpoint. You got to think that he's coming back and fighting for money. You got to think that he is 100% motivated by money for this fight. And people may think, of course, he's motivated by money. Ryan, the man is a prize fighter. I get it. Floyd Mayweather used to use that line all the time. He wasn't the first. He won't be the last. Adrien Broner's out here fighting for money just like everybody else. Everybody wants to get the biggest payday possible. If you're anywhere near or around the weight class of Canelo, that's the fight you're looking for, right? So it makes perfect sense. But that's not what I mean. That's a little bit different aspect of it, other than like you're out here and you want to get paid the most money. That's different than the things that he says. He always talks about how he's broke and he doesn't have any money, and Al Heyman and Showtime and Steven Espinosa, and they better put him on and they better give him a $10 million payday on his next fight. And sure, I'm sure that a certain portion of that is just the comedy factor, man, and it's entertaining, right? It is kind of funny. So I get that aspect. I don't really think he's only got $13 to his name or whatever it is, or whatever it is anyways. But that doesn't mean that he's not having issues, money issues. That doesn't mean that he actually isn't really trying to only fight for a paycheck and then not fight. Because that's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about if you're fighting for a paycheck. We're talking about, are you only fighting when you need a paycheck? This is only going to be his fourth fight since 2018. 4 fights in 4 years. This ain't like a 45, 50-year-old dude. Why are you taking so long in between fights? And from that aspect, it's the same thing from Omar Figueroa. He's only fought like 4 times in the last 5 years. Right? These are inactive fighters. These are part-time fighters. These are guys who are just not going out there and doing it at a frequency and a level that we typically expect from world-class fighters, or even that we've seen from them in the past, right? Especially Adrien Broner, right? A guy who used to compete, at the highest levels. He was on the biggest stage, and we've seen him come down a little bit. Now, all that being said, I'm excited about the fight. I'm going to tune in. I'm looking forward to it. Just like a lot of other people are. Gotta be there. I've been an Adrien Broner fan for a long time. Not necessarily because of all the antics and because of his personality and all that. I mean, that's cool. But I'm here for watching guys fight. I break it down. I call it like I see it, and I like to see guys go out there and get it done. Now, when I think about Adrien Broner, the first thing that comes to my mind: super quick hands, decent punching power particularly when he was at the lower weights. But as he moved up in weight, didn't carry the punching power with him. Still has the hand speed, but he's flat-footed. Feet are slow. Stance is kind of wide. Has problems with guys who move. Has problems with guys who give you different looks and angles. Have problems with guys who can control the distance on him. You look at his last fight with Santiago, man, he's getting beat up. He's getting pushed around at times. Questionable decision and all that. Like Santiago back, you look at Adrien Broner when he was in his prime. That isn't a caliber of a fighter that would have given him trouble. But it did that. So how's he going to come out here and look now? It's going to be tough to, I'm sure in the build up to this fight, in between now and July 23rd, we're going to see all the typical things that we see from Adrien Broner. Man, he's going to come out and say, I'm super motivated now. I'm super focused. This is going to be different. You're going to come out. You're going to see a new AB. Fair enough. But the reality is, I doubt that we're going to see that. On the flip side, we got Omar Figueroa. Now, look, this guy, also a guy who's no longer at his prime, but when he was at his prime, he was a decent fighter. Like the way he switches between stances, like the way he comes in there and he's just relentless and he's aggressive and he does good work and lands hard shots. But he's got some flaws in his game as well, right? First and foremost, he gets hit a lot. Second of all, again, part-time fighter. And that means you're not going to be sharp. So you already had a guy who was slacking with the defense. You had already had a guy who was able to get lit up. I mean, when you look at his last two fights with Ugas and Ramos, they tore him up, particularly Ramos in that last fight. But how did they do it? They both kind of did it in similar fashion. They were able to stay on the inside. Figueroa, very aggressive, wants to get inside, wants to eat that distance up and get in there and do good work. They were like, fine, you want to come inside? No problem. Ugas just tore the body up and then worked up top on him. Ramos, I don't know, he didn't land as many vicious body shots, but he landed some ferocious ones. He was catching them with the jab. He was backing up with half steps and landing the right hand. Like, overall, just able to control everything. And, you know, Figueroa's got this style. He's like, well, I'm awkward. I'm going to create these angles. And, you know, the way he tries to use his gloves to shield sides of his face for defense and everything didn't work out that well for him. But when I think about him and Adrien Broner getting in the ring, that's the real question. Now, here's the thing. Broner's got faster hands, but Broner's got a horrible work rate. Broner has always had trouble with guys who have a high work rate, guys who are going to come in and apply pressure. He's not going to be able to keep you off. He's not going to be able to keep Figueroa off. I mean, yeah, he's got a hard right hand, but at 147 pounds, is he known as a knockout artist? Is he out there just dropping guys and hurting them? Not really. I mean, sure, he was able to like catch Sean Porter with that left hook and drop him at the end, but that was more like a timing-based shot, I think. It was more something that caught him off guard versus something that was just like truly a devastating hard shot. Figueroa has got a chin. Yeah, he's gotten beat up, but he has got a rock-solid chin for the most part. I mean, you look at all the shots like Antonio DeMarco was catching him with. You look at just all the things that even Guerrero in that fight. Yeah, Figueroa got the stoppage, man, but Guerrero was lighting him up with some hard punches. So he's pretty solid. I doubt that Broner's going to be able to go in there and hurt him. And he's really only going to be able to have one or two shots. He's going to have that wide left hook that he shoots when Figueroa's trying to come in. Because once Figueroa gets in there, I mean, maybe Broner's going to try and get off an uppercut, but for the most part, man, he's going to shell up. He is just not a guy who handles inside pressure well. Not a guy with a high work rate. Doesn't handle the high work rate guys well. So in that sense, I see it being Figueroa all day, right? Like that's going to play to his advantage. But then on the flip side, should Broner catch him with some shots coming in? Because Figueroa's there to be hit. When he gets inside, should he catch him with some uppercuts? He does have the faster hands. He does have some pop. If he hurts him, if he staggers him, maybe he could push the fight in his favor. Maybe he could even turn around and get a stoppage. You know, he does have that type of speed and that type of athleticism. Could he turn back the clock a little bit? Maybe, and we see it this one time? Sure. But it is going to be tough. That being said, defense not being a priority really for either of these men, I see it being an entertaining fight. Don't think either one of them are going to be challenging for the belt anytime soon at 147 pounds. I don't think Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence are too worried about what either of these guys are going to be doing and whether they're going to be a future opponent. But as far as boxing fans are concerned, should be pretty good, right? Should be entertaining. Interested to see what's going to happen. Interested to break down the film a little bit going into it, kind of pick apart what each man's doing and kind of seeing where it's going to go. So, let me know what you guys think. You excited to see Adrien Broner back? Do you think Omar Figueroa's got anything for him? Or is this a fight that was kind of just set up where it's going to catapult AB into something else? He's expected to look good. Let me know what you guys think.